Good evening. The Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District, School Board is now convened in a regular meeting on Monday, September 10th, 2018, in the boardroom of the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Instructional Support Center at 10300 Jones Road, Houston, Texas, at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we're here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by sections 551.071 through 551.084 of the Texas Government Code. These meetings are airing live on CFTV Channel 16 and CFTV online on the district website. They will be rebroadcast throughout the month on Channel 16 and available as video on demand on the website. For the tape to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking or their cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize that we have Matthew Jones here tonight from Troop 277. Where is Matthew? Would you stand? Thank you. And I don't see any Community Leadership Committee members tonight. We'll now go to our invocation and pledge. Tonight's invocation will be given by Joel Moser, pastor of Grace Life Baptist Church. After 6 years of meeting in one of our schools, Grace Life Church plans on moving to their new building this Christmas. Grace Life Church has adopted Goodson Middle School, where they do a wonderful job of supporting staff and students. Joel and his wife Tara have 5 children, all in Cy-Fair ISD, from elementary to high school. In addition to pastoring a growing congregation, Joel volunteers as a mentor as well as a watchdog in the schools his children attend. We appreciate, Joel, your coming and your commitment to our district, and thank you for doing our invocation tonight. Would you? Let's stand.
Father, I want to thank you so much for the school district that you have given each and every one of us to live in here in Cypress. Lord, I want to pray as we begin a new school year. I want to thank you, first of all, for this school board and the decisions that they have to make year after year, month after month. Lord, I thank you for the administrations at each one of the schools, the elementary, the middle, and the high schools, the teachers. Lord, I pray that in this new year, as they are faced with no doubt many dilemmas and problems and situations, doing much more than just educating, really caring for the whole person, God, give them wisdom, give them insight, give them direction. And Lord, thank you for the time and the extra time that each one of our teachers places and gives to our children, to our community. Lord, I pray that you would help the teachers, administration, this board to lead with character, integrity, wisdom. Lord, as we pray, there's no doubt many a parent prays every night this way. Lord, we ask that you would place a special protection over each one of our schools this year. Protect them physically, Lord. Thank you for those that you've given to each campus to protect. Lord, give wisdom, instruction, insight to each leader on each campus, each administrator. And we pray all of this in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing. Our AFJROTC cadets will present the colors. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Our cadets tonight were from the Cypress Creek High School, Cadet Brandon Crawford, Cadet Nyla Jenkins, Cadet Julieta Mesa, Cadet Kenny Vogue. And their sponsors are Major Craig Lawrence and Master Sergeant Marvin Tasby. Board Member Tom Jackson will read the district's vision and mission statement for the benefit of the audience.
Our vision statement: learn, empower, achieve, dream, lead. Our mission statement: maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences, preparing students to be 21st century global leaders.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. We'll now move to the special recognitions portion of our agenda. And 1A, our superintendent will make remarks and announcements, including honors and achievements earned by staff and students.
Thank you, Dr. Ogletree. More than 100 Cy-Fair ISD graduates celebrated earning scholarships valued at more than $532,000 at the Cy-Fair Educational Foundation 2018 scholarship reception at the Berry Center. The Cy-Fair Educational Foundation, which has awarded more than $8 million in scholarships to more than 1,700 CFISD graduates since its inception in 1970, welcomed families of the 116 recipients to the annual event. The class of 2018 Cy-Fair Educational Foundation scholarships were comprised of 49 Schrader scholarships for future Lone Star College Cy-Fair students and 67 endowed scholarships. 3 elementary schools announced adopt school partnerships in August. Post Elementary School turned its standing relationship with Champion Forest Baptist Church at Jersey Village into an official union on August 20th. Just one day later, Horn Elementary School entered into a partnership with Toshiba International Corporation, followed by Sheridan Elementary School, who on August 24th announced that it too would enter into an adopt-a-school partnership with Houston's First Baptist Church, Cypress. CFISD Adopt-a-School program pairs schools with community and business partners to utilize resources of the community to strengthen and enrich the quality of education for students. And I'm proud of all of our faith-based groups, all of our businesses who have chosen to give back to their community by partnering with our campuses, and we certainly appreciate that as a district. Thank you, Dr. Ogletree.
Thank you. Well, we had 2 reports that were given on Thursday in our committee of the whole meeting. Jenna Pena was recognized for being the Region 4 Elementary Teacher of the Year, and our own Dr. Mark Henry was recognized for being named the Region 4 Superintendent of the Year. We're now at the board comment section of our agenda. Any board member may make a comment during this portion of the agenda without prior posting being required. Comment items may not pertain to the character of any student, staff, or board member. It may not be discussed or deliberated upon at this meeting. Do we have any, Dorothy?
I just wanted to congratulate everyone on a great start for the year. And I want to also say that Bus Buddies is one of the most fun things I get to do each year. And if you didn't experience that this year, I hope you will next year. It's 2 days of helping the youngest students get off at the right bus stop. And it doesn't take much time, but it sure is a lot of fun, and you'll enjoy seeing our students. Thank you, Dr. Ogletree.
Anyone else? Bob?
Well, she's not going to appreciate this, but my wife's in the audience, Kathleen, and she's here tonight. She may last maybe next 10 or 15 minutes, but it is great to have you here, and I love her support. Thank you.
Just a quick comment. I wanted to say, welcome back to everybody. And I want to thank our businesses and our faith-based groups that have adopted our schools. I know that at the school that I teach at, we've already had school supplies donated, a breakfast for the teachers, just all these things showing love to the students and the staff. And I know that all the groups that adopt our schools do that and more. So I just want to say thank you. You really don't know how much it means. Thank you.
Anyone else? Debbie?
Wanted to echo what Darcy said earlier. It was a great, smooth start to the school year. I know I have 5 happy grandkids at my house, happy to be back at school and thrilled with their teachers and schedules. I also echo about Bus Buddies. I've been doing Bus Buddy duty since the inception of the program. And I will tell you, it just keeps getting better and better every year. I had some of the most amazing kindergarten students on my bus this year, and as is my process, I always like to ask them, what was the best part of your day? And I had a little girl, her name was Adrienne. I was been wearing my brace. I took it off a few minutes ago. But she noticed that on my hand, and she grabbed my hand and asked me if she could pray over me for my hand to be healed. And I have never heard a 5-year-old pray so eloquently as this young student did for me. And it was just absolutely amazing and just proof positive again that Jesus is in our schools.
Amen. Amen. Anyone else? All right,
Again, I started off this school year with being a bus buddy. Although we did not achieve perfection on that first day, I was impressed that procedures were in place to address matters when they went awry. I was also most impressed with the behavior of our students, the friendliness of our bus driver, and the functioning of our technology that I spoke about at our Thursday meeting. And so tonight I tip my hat to our entire transportation system, from our bus drivers, mechanics, office staff, and the management team, for yet again another job well done.
Thank you. Thank you. Is that it? All right, we'll now go to the citizen participation portion of our agenda, and
We're running a little,
oh, we're running early. All right.
she's making copies and she'll be right here.
Okay. We're going to do. Okay, we'll come back to that. Let's do our. On Thursday, the committee of the whole meeting, the following report was received. The administration provided an oral report on the district's board monitoring system. Tonight, we will hear this report. The board will provide a report on the 2018 STAR 3 through 8 end of course and state accountability ratings. Linda Matthias.
Thank you, Dr. Ogletree, Board, and Dr. Henry. This evening, we will be sharing an overview of the 2017. Oh, am I right? 2018. Yeah, I was right. 2018 STAR results and the state accountability results. I would like to thank our campus leaders, teachers, and curriculum and instruction and accountability team for their hard work and dedication to the academic success of our Cypher students. As you know, the 2017 and 18 school year was a difficult year with Hurricane Harvey and other weather-related situations. The state even reported that over 50% of our students attended school, where a good number of our teachers were also in homeless situations as a result of the hurricane. Yet, they worked tirelessly to address the achievement gaps for their students affected by the hurricane through effective first-time instruction, as well as before, after school, and weekend tutoring, as well as other interventions. So Dr. Claiborne will now continue with the presentations for our 2017 results, 17 and 18 results.
We will begin tonight with a reminder for the board and the viewing audience regarding STAR 3 through 8 and end of course performance labels. The first performance label is approaches grade level. This is the first level of passing. Performance in this category indicates that students are likely to succeed in the next grade level or course. The second is meets grade level. As you can see, this is a higher level of passing. Students performing in this category have a high likelihood of success in the next grade level. The final and highest grade level of passing is masters. Students performing in this category are expected to succeed in the next grade level. Our presentation this evening will reflect data from all three performance levels. The first set of data reflect 2018 STAR reading performance for students in grades 3 through 8. You will see data for the following student groups: all, Hispanic, African American, white, and economically disadvantaged. Cypher data are represented by the red bar, and the data for the state of Texas are represented by the gray bar. As you can see, Cypher students outperformed the state in grades 3 through 8 reading. Math scores in grades 3 through 8 were also higher than the state. Cypher students in grades 5 and 8 were administered the STAR Science exam. These students outperformed the state in each of the student groups reflected above. Writing scores in grades 4 and 7 were higher than the state as well. In grade 8, our students who took the Social Studies STAR also outperformed students across the state. Once again this year, our 5th and 8th grade students were given multiple opportunities to pass the Reading and Math STAR as part of the Student Success Initiative, also known as SSI. The data before you depict performance on the first round of STAR, the yellow bar, and then the combined performance after the second administration of STAR, which is the orange bar. The Texas Education Agency did not require districts affected by Hurricane Harvey to administer the third round of SSI assessments. Please note the performance from the first administration to the second administration went up by 4 points for 5th grade reading, 6 points for 5th grade math, 5 points for 8th grade reading, and 6 points for 8th grade math. Now we will turn our attention to the results of the end-of-course exams in Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. The end-of-course data will depict results from students who took the exam for the first time in the 17-18 school year. Cypher data are represented by the blue bar, and the data for the state of Texas are represented by the gray bar. We begin with the English 1 results. The scores before you represent Cypher students outperforming the state in each of the reference student groups. Cypher students who took the English 2 exam for the first time also outperformed the state. In Algebra 1, Cypher students continue to outperform the state. It's important to note that a little over 36% of our 8th grade students took the Algebra 1 exam, and 100% of those students passed the exam. First-time testers in Cypher outperformed the state in biology. U.S. history data for our first-time testers also reflects performance above the state level. On Thursday evening, Mr. Jackson noted the importance of monitoring STAR data beyond the approach's performance level. Now we will review data for the MEETS grade level performance standard. Please keep in mind that the percent of students passing at this level will not be as high as those reaching the approach's grade level standard. All campuses are working on increasing the number of students reaching the MEETS grade level standard by setting CIP targets related to this level and implementing related strategies to raise these percentages. The first column on the left-hand side reflects the content area tested. The second column reflects the combined MEETS grade level performance for STAR 3 through 8 and end-of-course data. The third column depicts the same data for the state of Texas. The final column reflects the difference between Cypher ISD and the state. You will notice the performance of Cypher is above the state in each content area. To conclude the STAR data review, we will focus on the master's performance level. As a reminder, the master's grade level standard is the very highest passing standard a student may achieve. Just as with the MEETS grade level standard, the percent of students passing at this level will not be as high as those reaching the approach's grade level standard. Just as with the MEETS grade level standard, all campuses are working on increasing the number of students reading the master's standard by setting CIP targets related to this level and implementing related strategies. This table is formatted similar to the previous one. The performance of Cypher students at the master's level is also higher than the state. As Dr. Pam Wells noted on Thursday evening, for 6 years in a row, under Dr. Henry's leadership, All campuses in Cy-Fair have earned an overall Met Standard rating. In the 2018 accountability system, the district earned an overall rating of 89, which is equivalent to a recognized rating. As part of the state accountability system, our campuses are able to earn distinction designations in the following areas: academic achievement in reading, English language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies, top 25% in comparative academic growth, top 25% in comparative closing the gaps, and post-secondary readiness. Each campus is assigned to a unique comparison group of 40 schools from anywhere in the state that closely match the target school. Distinctions are then awarded based on performance that is in the top quartile of the comparison group. Campuses earning one or more of these distinction designations met rigorous criteria to earn the highest level of recognition in the state accountability system. Displayed now are the number of distinction designations earned district-wide in elementary, middle, and high school. The data now displayed depict the district's performance as compared to the 4 other largest districts in Texas. The first column depicts the district name. The second column depicts the total number of students enrolled in the district, followed by the percent of economically disadvantaged students. Then you will see the 2018 district accountability rating, followed by the number and percent of campuses that met standard and the number and percent of campuses that were rated improvement required. Cy-Fair ISD is the largest district in the state of Texas, with all campuses meeting standard and no campuses rated improvement required. This table depicts the performance of Cy-Fair ISD versus surrounding districts. The board and community members may access accountability data by navigating to a campus webpage, clicking on About Us, and then clicking on School Ratings. As we move forward in the 2018-19 school year, we will focus on the following next steps. Based on the data, our first area of focus will be writing. We will be implementing a district writing plan at elementary, middle school, and high school. We will focus on students earning the meets and master's grade level performance on STAR and end of course exams. We will support campuses as they work toward earning at least one distinction designation. And we've already strengthened the monitor school process with the addition of our Assistant Superintendent of School Improvement and Transformation to ensure all campuses meet the state and district standards. This concludes our presentation for this evening. We would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Claiborne. Any questions? Any questions?
Answered with the plan. I was going to ask about the writing, and you answered my question. Because obviously that's a focus, and that's where our lower numbers are, and so.
Correct. We're already addressing that right off the bat.
I think I'm doing that in my job too.
All right, Bob.
Can you tell us how they come up with the distinction designations?
Yes, sir. Every campus in the state of Texas is matched up with 40 other campuses that are similar to it based on the school type, the grade level served, the size of the campus, the percent of economically disadvantaged, the mobility rate, the percent of English learners, the percent of special ed students, and whether or not the campus is an early college program. So they look at the data from all the campuses in the state based on those criteria and give every individual campus a group of 40 other schools to be compared to. And then on the different criteria, so for instance, for reading or for math, they're looking at certain criteria. So I'll give you an example of third grade math. How many students were at the master's grade level standard, so that very highest level of performance. And they're looking for campuses to be in the top quartile of that 40 group. So the top 25 campuses, the top 25% of the campuses are in quartile 1. So that ranking helps them to earn the distinction designation.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay, Tom?
On the distinctions, one, I have to say, good job to our principals and to our campuses. Once again, this is exemplary. I'd like for you to chat a little bit. Our prior Texas commissioner actually designed the program for distinctions. He and his staff came up with the idea and they implemented it. The current commissioner has indicated that he does not, I think his precise words, it shows that good work is being done, but it's not one that he chooses to focus on as much. Can you comment on the value of earning distinctions and what it means, not just to us as trustees, but what it means to our parents whose children go to these schools?
I can say something in this, you want to address it? Okay. I would just say that I think the commissioner may have his own opinion, but in Cy-Fair, we definitely are thrilled with any campus that earns at least one or more distinction designations because it represents the highest level of performance. So it's not just looking at approaches, it's looking at how many kids are hitting that very highest level, the master's grade level performance standard. And so any campus that has at least one, board members as well as parents should be thrilled with that.
I tend to agree with your assessment. I think it is remarkable, and of course, when you're being compared to your peer group, that is the proper comparison. It doesn't make a lot of sense, say, for Dean Middle School to be compared to a junior high school out of Highland Park.
That is exactly correct. They're compared to similar peers, so it truly is showing that amongst their peers, they're doing very well.
I always like to look at the deltas to see if we can have any type of arithmetic comparison that shows if we're closing the gap. When I take a look at the deltas on the different categories, whether it's math or science or writing, social studies, it appears that when we compare the white gap between Cy-Fair and the state of Texas, and then we compare that to the African-American gap, it appears to me as if we are in fact closing that gap because the delta in improvement for the AA group is significantly higher than the delta improvement for the white group. And when I took a quick look, it was that way across all subject areas. We didn't quite have the same degree of success on the Hispanic side, but still more than not. So is that an acceptable way of trying to get our hands around, are we in fact closing the gap?
Yes, we believe we are. For many years now, we've been focusing on the performance of our African-American students as well as all of our other students, but specifically on that group. And you can see that they are indeed working to close that gap, just like you said, especially with Hispanic and then moving on up. Dr. Macias, did you want to say anything else?
I would agree with Dr. Claiborne. That certainly has been a focus of ours at the direction of Dr. Henry, actually. And we even have a recognition for our campuses at the Superintendent's award for closing the gap for economically disadvantaged students. And that's typically where we see the areas that we need to work on, Mr. Jackson, is the economic disadvantage, whether it's Hispanic or African American or white. But that certainly has been a topic and an area that we focused on.
A little side note on that. I was at a Harris County luncheon today, and so a trustee from a neighboring district whose daughter teaches here in Cy-Fair sought me out to say that she thought it was great that the superintendent had a program where he went out and recognized individual schools for their improvement. and she thought that was something that her district ought to be doing. So just a minor comment that what y'all do here does get noticed around the state. And this is one of my standard questions, and I suspect I know the answer, but I need to ask it anyway. And Stuart just left, but Linda, you may know the answer. If you take a look on page 7, neighboring district comparisons, do those other districts all receive more money per child than we do?
I'll step in for Stuart. Yes, they do.
And if I remember right, all of them receive at least $300 more per student than we do. So once again, a very remarkable achievement for student attainment, leadership at the top level, but also at the campus level. Job well done, folks.
Thank you.
A final question, and this came up at that luncheon too. You heard me talk about it last fall. I was concerned that with the impact of Harvey, that we might see a diminution of our test scores, but I don't see any drop-off here. So is my, and we don't have year-to-year comparisons, but I don't see any drop-off on student attainment. Is that a correct analysis?
Just to say this, Mr. Jackson, one thing when Harvey was finally kind enough to leave our premises, we determined at a very early stage that Harvey was not going to be an excuse. We didn't want that talked about at the campus level, the district level, community level. Yes, it was something to overcome, but we never used that as an excuse. And we've got a lot of our outstanding teachers and many of our campus leaders here, and I just have to commend them. Many of, as was said earlier, of our teachers and our students were homeless. But just the remarkable job that our teaching staff and the leadership on our campuses did it's kind of one of those deals that there are a lot of unsung heroes, and the campus made this happen, and the majority of the credit should go to them.
You know, my colleague did ask us to go serve lunch to one of those campuses, and that was also emblematic. We couldn't go out to each and every campus to serve lunch and say thank you for what our teachers and administration was doing above and beyond, but we did pick one campus out as a way of saying thank you, and I thought that was an excellent idea from my colleague in that area. On the next steps, I certainly enjoy seeing what you put down here, particularly focusing not only on enhancing the distinction. I'm a big fan of that. I believe it has tremendous merit. You know, I think Commissioner Williams was right on target. He and I chatted about it, and he believed in it very strongly. But I also appreciate the focus on earning meets and masters. I know our current commissioner believes that the mastery level, he believes there's high correlation between that and earning a 4-year degree. I've written the TEA and asked for the analysis of that because I'd love to see it, but I've yet to receive it. But I'm sure Harvey interrupted their ability to respond on a timely basis. But good report, thank you.
Yes, Bob.
Ms. Blackshear may be able to edit what I'm going to say, but both she and I attended the Gulf Coast meeting last week, and David Thompson made a presentation on the upcoming legislative session, and he showed a graph showing the results of the STAR across the state of Texas, and showed the difference from affluent to economically disadvantaged. And the highest concentration of those that need help are in the economically disadvantaged. And he made a comment that our legislators don't necessarily think money is going to help in education. And so I would encourage anybody that is watching us tonight or is listening to us that we need this legislation this legislature to take a look at the funding of public education, because it is obvious that if we have the money to educate, then we're gonna be able to do more. Debbie, did I cover that okay?
Said it well.
Okay.
And I would just add to that, Mr. Covey, if the state would just give us the same dollars that they pay to educate students in our district in charter schools, we would have enough money to make sure that all of our students have a chance. We're much more efficient and effective with our dollars than charter schools are, and they get significantly more money than we do.
All right, thank you. And what is that difference in charter
In our
school?
district, it's about $1,000 per student.
$1,000.
In HISD, a student can cross the street from a HISD school and go to a charter school, and it's $1,800 more per child. So you're talking about a value for taxpayers at your local ISD, not a charter school. I think $3.5 billion was spent on charter schools last year, and that's about 5% of the school-age population. So if we want to have enough money for public education, let's support our local ISDs.
Tom?
And Mark, I would echo, so one of the luncheon speakers today did point out with specificity about Cyfair that it's over $1,000 more per student that the charter schools receive. And he pointed out that billions of dollars were allocated for facilities for charters. So that old argument continues to lose validity. He also pointed out, and for us to be aware of, but based on the amount of recapture dollars flowing into the state, that the Senate, the early signs from the Senate, and I may remember the number wrong, but I think he said that they're looking at funding $3 billion less of the state portion. And that's a significant number, meaning they're looking to shift more burden on the backs of local taxpayers and then come in and say, our local taxes are too high. I hope what I heard was not correct, but he seemed to be fairly certain about his facts.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Claiborne. Great report. We're going to go back to our citizen participation portion of our agenda. Patrons duly registered per policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern or interest to the district other than the character of any student, staff, or board member. I would like to remind the audience that the viewers that the comments of the speakers reflect their own opinions and positions. The board may not discuss or act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. Therefore, board members may not discuss the comments of speakers. Please understand that a lack of response from a board member does not indicate agreement or approval of the comments. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board. Christine Harley, Secretary of the Board, will be the designated timekeeper. And our first speaker tonight is Donna Lord.
Good evening. My name is Donna Lord, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of Cyfair TSTA NEA. Tonight, we would like to take a few moments to thank our educational support professionals, also known as ESPs. These are the men and women who usually work behind the scenes, who are usually forgotten. ESPs are our bus drivers, our paraprofessionals, our maintenance workers, custodians, security staff. The list goes on and on and on. Our teachers are the heart of the district. And the ESPs are the life-giving blood that pumps through the district. Without the hard work of our educational support professionals, our schools would not be cleaned and maintained, our grounds would be overgrown, security would be lax, our students wouldn't have nutritional meals, and sometimes they wouldn't even get to school. And our most vulnerable students would not get that extra support that they need. Our ESPs work very hard every day to ensure that the magic happens. This summer, many of our campuses were under construction, and our ESPs worked frantically to get these campuses back in order for that first day of school. Not only did they clean up the dust and the debris that was left by the contractors, they polished the floors, they deep cleaned the bathrooms, they carried boxes and furniture into the teachers' classrooms so that those teachers could be ready to set up their rooms for those students. Our ESPs are really the unsung heroes of our district. I would like to share a personal story tonight. I'm a teacher at Cook Middle School, and I get to school at 6 a.m. every morning. And the first person that I see and am greeted by is Miss Martha. She's one of our custodians. Miss Martha greets me every morning with a big smile on her face. She gives me a hug, and she usually has a story to tell me. My day is made by Miss Martha. On those days that I don't see her, I feel a little bit of a loss. My day's not as bright. Now, if Miss Martha has that effect on me, can you imagine what our ESPs have on the effect, or what effect they have on our students? Oftentimes, they're the first people to interact with a student every morning. And sadly, they may be the first person to interact with that student at the end of the day. They take their job seriously, they work hard, and they love our students. So on behalf of Cypher-TSTA NEA, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you for all the hard work that they do. You're doing an important job. Keep making that magic. And Miss Martha, if you're out there, I'll see you in the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lord. Ryan Shara.
Would it be okay if our kids all came up together in one group?
Yes. Right. Yes, come on.
Hi, my name is Ryan Sherrar. I go to Hamilton Middle School and I'm in the 8th grade. I was diagnosed with leukemia on March 20th, 2017, and I will have chemotherapy every day until July 12th, 2021. Now, I am one of 2 honored heroes for LLS's Light the Night for Montgomery County, and I would like to invite all of you to come and join us, Cypress Strong, us 28 families in Cypress, on our effort to take out the darkness of cancer on October 27th, when we walk and light the night in Houston.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Okay.
Hi, my name is Trey Lucas. I'm in the 8th grade at Hamilton Middle School, and I mean, cancer really stinks, but I mean, if you have a lot of support, it can really get you through. So like Ryan said, if y'all could just come to light the night with us, that would mean a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Trey.
Okay, my name is Adam Lancaster. I am an 8th grade student at Hamilton Middle School, and on August 21st of 2015, I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and for the past about 3 years, I have been in chemotherapy treatment. But on December 10th of this year, I will be done.
All right. Yes.
The rest of the Cypress Strong team and I would be really appreciated if the district would declare it an annual Childhood Cancer Awareness Day. I think that'd be cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Hello, my name is Sophia Anagnostou, and I'm 15 years old, and I'm a sophomore at Cywoods High School. When I was in 6th grade at age 12, I was diagnosed with high-risk pre-B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia. After the diagnosis, I endured 2.5 years of treatments, surgeries, and infections. Today, I am happy and healthy, and I participate in theater at my high school. During my treatment, there was no such thing as gold out, and childhood cancer was not mentioned. I can say 3.5 years later that childhood cancer awareness is mentioned and things are done in the school district in September. I would like to thank the Cypher School District for everything y'all do to support childhood cancer awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you. Those were excellent presentations. We'll now have, I think we have one more.
Hey, John, I have
Yes.
a quick question. I know we normally don't do this. Are y'all walking at the Woodlands Waterway? The Cypress group, are you walking with that walk?
Well, we're kind of divided this year. Ryan is our honored hero for the Woodlands Walk. Now our official group, Cypress Strong, we're walking this year in the Houston Walk on October 27th. It'll be start in front of City Hall.
Okay, thank you so much.
Both of them, we'll be out there for both of them.
I have a nephew that was an honored hero, so that's awesome.
Thank you. John Rosenthal.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Rosenthal, and I'm here because I'm your Democratic candidate for Texas State Representative in House District 135. And I just want to introduce myself to the board and to the constituents. House District 135 comprises a large chunk of the Cypher Independent School District. And it's the biggest reason that I decided to run for this position is because I value our public schools, and I'm an avid supporter. I've lived in the district for 10 years with my lovely wife, Aminta. Both of my children graduated from Cypher Public Schools. My father is a lifetime educator, and so were both of his parents. I am heavily supported by the Cypher American Federation of Teachers, and that is because I've demonstrated a platform that's positive for public schools. So I want to see, I'm glad you brought up the funding because I feel like Texas is ripping us off. They're raising our property taxes. They're not paying their fair share to fund the schools. And that needs to end. So we need to send legislators to Austin who will fight for funding for our public schools because dollars do matter. And I also am glad that we've talked about charters a little bit because it's totally unfair for the state to give them more money when they produce substandard results compared to like this district. So I want to thank the board for the great job that you guys have done. I'm sorry I've never been to a meeting. As a parent and a constituent, I've never had to. You guys do a great job. And our kids enjoy a very excellent level of education. So I've never had to come here to express my concerns before. But with what's going on in our state government right now, we need some fresh faces up there. So that's why I'm here. My name's John Rosenthal. I invite all of you. I've sent you guys a email to invite you to interact with me. I want to hear your concerns and the constituents. If I'm going to represent the people, I want to hear your concerns. I want to interact with you. So please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I got business cards to hand out. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenthal. All right, we'll go now to the agenda items, the consensus items. During the course of the committee of the whole meeting, it was the consensus of the board that the following action item be approved as submitted or amended. 5A, the board will consider approving the minutes of the August 13, 2018 regular board meeting. It was also the consensus of the board during the committee of the whole meeting that the following non-consensus agenda items be placed on the consensus agenda. 5B, the board will consider awarding bids, contracts, and/or authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item. 1, charter bus and travel agency for tour event services, district fundraiser services. That was 2. 3, grocery goods and supplies. 4, nutrition services, food supplies catalog. 5, restaurant catering and delivery services. 6, school net IMS, a renewal of perpetual license. 7, spirit apparel and promotional items. 8, Zonar Annual Service Agreement. Also added to the consensus agenda was item 5C. The board will consider authorizing the superintendent or designee to execute an interlocal agreement with Harris County Tax Office for school district access to the Texas Department of Motor Vehicles web sub application. Also 5D, the board will consider approving the construction proposals and contracts paid from the 2014 bond funds to the recommended contractor and authorize the superintendent or designee to execute all necessary documents related to such contracts as follows. 1, proposal, a new middle school, number 19. 2, proposal 2017 existing Maskey Elementary School repurpose and renovation. 3, proposal 2018 ISC Technology and Falcon Annex improvements. And 5E, the board will consider approving and authorizing the superintendent or designee to enter into the miscellaneous professional service contracts related to the following projects. 1, middle school number 19. 2, 2017 existing Maskey Elementary School repurpose and renovation. Also, 5F, the board will consider approving on second reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies. 1, CAA local fiscal management goals and objectives, financial ethics revised. 2, DH local employee standards of conduct revised. 3, FNG local student rights and responsibilities, student and parent complaints and grievances revised. GKA local community relations conduct on school premises revised. Also, 5G, the board will consider approving on first reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policy. 1, CJA local contracted services criminal history, that's an add. DBB local employment requirements and restrictions, medical examinations and communicable diseases revised. 3, DHE local employee standards of conduct, searches and alcohol drug testing revised. And 4, DI local employee welfare delete. Also, 5H, the board will consider authorizing the superintendent to execute an interlocal agreement with Harris County Emergency Services District Number 9 for the school district police department use of the Harris County Public Safety Radio System. And 5I, the board will consider adopting a resolution acknowledging October as School Priority Month. If any board member wishes to remove one or more items for further discussion, please do so at this time. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consensus items as recommended or amended.
Dr. Ogletree, I move that we approve the consensus items as recommended or amended.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hands. It is unanimous. We will now go to the agenda items which remain on non-consensus. 6A, the board will consider adopting and the board will consider adopting an order authorizing the issuance of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Unlimited Tax School Building Bonds, Series 2018, levying a tax and providing for the security of payment thereof, providing for the award of the sale thereof in accordance with specified parameters, and enacting other provisions relating thereto.
Mr. President, I move that the board adopt an order authorizing the issuance of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Unlimited Tax School Building Bonds, Series 2018, levying a tax and providing for the security of payment thereof, providing for the award of the sale thereof in accordance with specified parameters, and enacting other provisions relating thereto.
Second.
All right, we have a second. Is there any discussion on that item? If not, would you please raise any hand, left or right? Okay, all right, it's unanimous. 6B, the board will consider adopting 2018 tax rate resolution to support the 2018-2019 maintenance and operations and debt service budgets by setting the 2018 M&O and interest and sinking tax rates.
Mr. President, I move that the board adopt the 2018 tax rate resolution to support the 2018-2019 maintenance and operation debt service budget by setting the 2018 M&O and interest and sinking tax rate at $1.06 and 0.38 respectively.
I second.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on that? All right, all in favor? It is unanimous. And 6C, the board will consider adopting a resolution to eliminate the state-imposed penalty for granting a local optional homestead exemption previously adopted under Tax Code Section 11.13N.
Mr. President, I move that the board adopt a resolution to eliminate the state-imposed penalty for granting a local optional homestead exemption previously adopted under Tax Code Section 11.13N.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All right, all in favor, please. All right, it's unanimous. 6D, the board will consider a level 4 appeal of a level 3 decision.
Dr. Ogletree, I move that the board uphold the level 3 decision made by the administration.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We have any comment? Debbie?
Yes, Dr. O. At the hearing on last Thursday evening, as we listened to Mr. and Ms. Owens, I had some serious concerns when I heard the words and the language that they were objecting to that was used in the book, The Glass Castle. The next day, I went out and I bought a copy of The Glass Castle. And I really feel that when you read the book, the context in which the words were used is totally necessary because it is a memoir of Jeanette Walls and the life she lived. If she tried to gloss over it, it wouldn't have the impact. This book is her reality. And as I thought more about it, you know, what's contained in this book is the reality of some of our students. Not everyone lives the perfect life, and some students endure hardships that other students are never exposed to. And when I think about the language, I also had to think back 20 plus years to when my boys were in school. And I always said the real education they received was on the school bus ride to school and back. Because back in the day, they went to Lambkin, Arnold, and Cypher. And the middle school kids and the high school kids were on the same bus. And when they would come home at the end of the day and tell me things that they had heard on the bus, it gave me the opportunity as a parent to discuss with them why certain words were inappropriate to use. It gave me the chance to explain some things to them that they had heard and made sure that they were hearing things the correct way. And I have a granddaughter who's a junior in high school. And I talked to my daughter-in-law, who my son and daughter-in-law I feel are very good parents, and they monitor what their kids do, who their friends are, and they've always monitored the type of TV shows they watch. My son gets both of their cell phones every Sunday afternoon and goes through there and will tell them, I think you need to get out of that chat group because I don't think that's a good group and everything's appropriate that's being discussed there. So I guess where I'm going with this, and we talked, I felt like we had a great conversation Thursday night, and Dr. Macias made an excellent point about the diversity in this book that is contained in there, and we talked about making other selections available. I think I still stand by what I said the other night, that I really feel it would be appropriate if we had 3 books, the teacher pick 1 and 2 alternate books that students could read, one of which I guess we might say might be a little bit more tame in content for the students to participate in, and so they could also engage in discussion, because as what was pointed out was that the Owens daughter was the only one reading the alternate book, so she was unable to participate in discussion, and I can appreciate that. But I truly believe that education is a partnership between the school district and between the parent. And I'd much rather see an involved parent than a parent that's not involved. But as I said, from feeling very concerned on Thursday evening, after spending a lot of time thinking about it, and I have not read the entire book yet, I'm about 1/4 of the way through, I really feel like there is a place for this book. But I do, at the same time, because, this gives parents the opportunity to discuss those subjects which you want your child to hear it from your viewpoint and not another student or maybe another adult. So I vote with this. I think it is a very good book.
Thank you, Debbie, for that. That was the point of my questions to the Owens. Education is just more than what they get in the classroom. It's also life experiences and exposure. And we have students who have the same life experience as the central character who wrote the memoir. So that's what I wanted to say. Yes.
Unfortunately, John, I was out of town on Thursday and wasn't able to attend the work session or the hearing, so I'll be abstaining.
Okay.
As I will too.
All right. Tom.
A quick comment, Mr. President, but for the viewing audience, we can comment on this because this was an open meeting and not a closed meeting. Often on grievances, they're closed and we cannot comment on them. But this was a little different, so we can actually openly talk about it because it was. I would also mention, I read the book, not recently, but a few years ago, also saw the movie. Both the book and the movie are very disturbing, but one of our consultants that we brought in, she has her PhD from NYU, the story of her childhood and why she is raising her grandchild is also very disturbing. And although we might not like life to be the way it is that way. And after having read the book, I was not offended by it. but I also agree with my colleague that it presents a wonderful teaching moment and discussion between student and parent. And I know that as a parent, at least for my own family, I made a mistake because I did not permit one of my children to participate in the reading one of these books. Well, you can't, at least for myself, I could not shield my children. And looking back on it, I know I made the incorrect decision at that particular point in time.
And I think we should, through the hearing, also applaud Dr. Macias and her team who have said that they're going to make some steps forward in this, and even though we believe that this book should still be one of the books for reading, but they are going to try to help and advance the way we proceed with this. And so appreciate you all's consideration on these sensitive issues sometimes. Are we ready to vote? Okay. All those in favor of the motion on the floor? All right. It is approved. We'll now go to the superintendent's briefing.
And Mr. President, before we do so, could I add to my comments of Thursday night on the board monitoring system? You know, that was not a matter up for vote. So we did not get to the point where we made a motion and seconded it. But could I add a few more comments? Thank you, sir. Dr. Macias, you know, I mentioned that I would like to see some of our board goals move in the direction of, for our students at the mastery level. Certainly, we have admirable goals in the other area. And I indicated that I did not necessarily want that added for the current year. I am a incrementalist, so I would like to see your thinking, even though the evaluation from the board might not be there. I would still like to see what your thinking is in that regard, almost like on a dry run, as it were. And then, Dr. Stewart, with respect to our board goal, I am a strong supporter of the concept of visibility, which is a little different than the manner in which the metric that we choose to measure that. And I mentioned last year, but also the year before, that I wanted to see a little more maturity as we move down that road. And I don't want to cross the line and tell you with specificity, but for example, what steps are we taking, particularly for the Hispanic population, to ensure that our administration and also our teachers are best equipped at building relationships? I'm not in your field, so I really don't have suggestions to make. But it comes to mind that it takes at least a generation to produce a new crop of teachers. And certainly as we try and provide that opportunity for our graduates, and certainly we place a premium upon hiring graduates from Cy-Fair. Perhaps we are moving in that direction, knowing that down the road we're going to get where we would like to be. I'm also quite sensitive to the fact that the term Hispanic, although it's wide-reaching, means something different from those on the mothership over in Spain to those who come from Mexico, as my grandfather's mother did, but also those from South America. So I think it's a little more complex at trying to determine an appropriate metric, but also in the same fashion that I talked to Dr. Macias, I would like from your team to come up with a different metric, not to hold you accountable for, but a little different thinking. You know, for example, you've seen my writing over the past several years. If we are roughly 52% Hispanic, and if we have roughly 20% that go through ESL at some point in time, that would suggest to me that we have some percentage of households where English is not the primary language being spoken at home. We have made movement to make certain that when those households come to school, that they have an ability to communicate in at least one language with us other than English. Certainly we can't do it for all 100 and some odd languages that are spoken, but we can look at the more significant ones. So perhaps that is a metric that we can look at as well. But I'll leave those up on your side of the fence, but I would like for us to proceed a little bit farther from where we are. You know, a recently retired Superintendent Wanda, she and I chatted about this some 7 years ago in Austin, and her observation was there just are not enough Hispanic teachers out there to hire for the need. And so their district actually went a different direction. And for a brief period of time, they had it was mandatory that all new hires be ESL certified. I don't know if that was an approach that worked. I don't know that that's an approach that is affordable. You know me by now, I tend to be a pragmatist. If it works, I like it. And if it doesn't work, I ask why. So, but I'm not suggesting that I think that's the route that we should go. I'm merely using that as an example. I know another district that's won the broad prize a couple of times, right? Went, but I don't know if it actually worked for them or not. But I would like for y'all to have a little additional thinking as to different types of metrics that we could look at. And thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Dr. Ingram.
Thank you, Dr. Ogletree. The 6th Annual CFISD Back to School Expo served 3,754 patrons and guests at the Berry Center, supplying resources, answers, and assistance for incoming students, parents, and prospective employees. Certainly, we would like to extend our gratitude to Houston Methodist Willowbrook Hospital for providing athletic physicals, Harris Health System for administering immunizations, CFISD Health Services for administering vision screenings, Xerox for providing copiers, and Walmart Neighborhood Market on Barker Cypress Road for giving away fresh fruit, school supplies, water, and vaccine information to Expo patrons. CFISD classes begin August 27th with more than 115,000 students on our way to around 117,000, filling the hallways and classrooms of our 91 campuses. Moore Elementary School opened its doors to a renovated campus after being displaced for the 2017-18 school year due to damage suffered from Hurricane Harvey. A number of other campuses opened its doors to students following a variety of completed renovation projects. In addition, new safety and security measures were also put in place following a summer of planning as part of the CFISD 2018-19 action plan. 430 community volunteers assisted in the 12th annual CFISD Bus Buddies program. It is the second consecutive year in which the total topped 400 volunteers. Bus Buddies rode CFISD school buses from 2:45 p.m. to 5 p.m. for the first 2 days of school to ensure young students were safely transported to their proper drop-off points and locations. The Cy-Fair Educational Foundation will host the 21st Annual Salute to the Stars Gala on October 18th at the Berry Center. The Black Tie celebratory event will honor 91 CFISD teachers of the year from the 2018 school year, one from each campus. Families, caregivers, charities, and research groups across the United States observe September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Over 15,000 children under the age of 21 are diagnosed with cancer each year. Approximately 1/4 of them will not survive the disease. The objective of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is to put a spotlight on the types of cancer that largely affect children, survivorship issues, and most importantly, to help raise funds for research and family support. As we've had speakers this evening, I hope you'll join them and me in helping bring awareness of childhood cancer to the community by wearing gold during the month of September. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. We'll have a closed session tonight, right? Is that?
No.
Did we not?
No.
Okay. What'd you say at the football game? Okay. Then we're at the close of our agenda. Thank you for attending, and see you next month.